Hello, Class 9 students. Welcome to a crucial session on biology. Today, we delve into hygiene, a key to healthy life, focusing specifically on bacterial waterborne diseases like diarrhea, dysentery, typhoid, and cholera. These diseases are serious, but understanding them is the first step to prevention. We'll journey through 4 levels of understanding: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, to give you a complete picture. Let's begin our exploration into how dirty water can make us sick and what we can do to stay healthy. Ready to understand the basics of waterborne diseases? Let's dive into our easy level content to grasp the fundamentals and learn simple ways to protect ourselves. In our first section, we define waterborne diseases as illnesses caused by germs spread through contaminated water. This contamination often comes from untreated sewage or animal waste, making water unsafe to drink, wash, or cook with. Next, we introduce some common bacterial culprits. Diarrhea, with its frequent loose stools, can be caused by various bacteria. Dysentery is a more severe form, often involving blood and mucus, typically caused by Shigella. Typhoid fever brings high fever and weakness due to Salmonella typhi. And finally, cholera, known for its rapid and severe dehydration, is caused by Vibrio cholerae. Understanding these specific diseases helps us grasp the dangers. Now, the good news: prevention is largely in our hands. To stay safe, always drink clean water, boil it, filter it, or use bottled water if unsure. Hand washing is a superpower. Always wash your hands thoroughly with soap, especially before eating and after using the toilet. Proper food handling is also key. Cook food well and keep it covered to prevent contamination. And remember, good sanitation, like proper waste disposal, keeps our environment healthy. Think of a village well becoming contaminated, leading to outbreaks of cholera and diarrhea. Simple hygiene can prevent such tragedies. These steps are your shield against waterborne diseases. Time to test your understanding. Pause the video here and try to answer these 3 questions. 1. Name 2 bacterial waterborne diseases we discussed. 2. How can drinking contaminated water specifically make you sick? And 3. List 2 simple ways you can prevent waterborne diseases in your daily life. Think about what we just covered, and you'll do great. Now, let's deepen our knowledge. In the medium level, we'll explore the specific bacteria, how they spread, and their effects on our bodies in more detail. At this level, we truly understand the nature of bacterial waterborne diseases. These tiny bacteria multiply rapidly, and their primary transmission route is the fecal-oral route, meaning germs from infected feces find their way into our mouths. This can happen through contaminated water, food, or unwashed hands. The impact can be severe, from dehydration to malnutrition, and in serious cases, even death, especially affecting young children. Knowing this emphasizes why prevention is so critical. Let's break down diarrhea and dysentery. Diarrhea, often caused by bacteria like E. coli or Campylobacter, presents with watery stools and cramps. The key treatment is oral rehydration solution, or ORS, to restore lost fluids. Dysentery, on the other hand, is usually more severe, caused by Shigella bacteria. It involves painful, bloody, and mucus-filled stools, often accompanied by fever. Here, antibiotics are typically needed alongside ORS. Moving on to typhoid, this serious fever is caused by Salmonella typhi. It spreads through contaminated food or water and can lead to high fever, weakness, and even complications like intestinal perforation. Vaccination and strict hygiene are vital prevention tools. Finally, cholera, caused by Vibrio cholerae, leads to rapid, profuse watery diarrhea, known as rice water stools, and severe dehydration, which can be fatal within hours without immediate rehydration and sometimes antibiotics. Each disease has its specific bacterial culprit and distinct symptoms. Understanding these diseases helps us appreciate prevention. For diarrhea, ORS is paramount to prevent dehydration. In dysentery, specific antibiotics target the Shigella bacteria, again supported by ORS. Typhoid fever needs a strong defense. Getting vaccinated, washing hands, and ensuring food is cooked and stored safely are key. Cholera, due to its rapid and severe dehydration, demands immediate rehydration therapy, often intravenously, to save lives. Antibiotics can also help shorten the illness. These targeted approaches, combined with general hygiene, form our best defense against these bacterial threats. Alright, time for your medium-level challenge. Pause the video and consider these 5 questions. 1. What is the main difference in symptoms between diarrhea and dysentery? 2. Can you name the bacterium responsible for typhoid fever? 3. Explain what the fecal-oral route signifies in disease transmission. 4. Why is oral rehydration solution so crucial in treating cholera? And 5. List 2 specific ways to prevent typhoid fever. Take your time to formulate comprehensive answers. Ready to analyze and connect the dots? The hard level will challenge your understanding with deeper insights into these diseases and their societal impact. At the hard level, we delve into the epidemiology of these diseases. Millions are affected globally each year, with developing countries bearing the heaviest burden due to poor sanitation and water infrastructure. Outbreaks often follow monsoons or natural disasters, highlighting the link between environmental factors and disease spread. Key risk factors include poverty, limited access to safe water, inadequate hygiene, and crowded living conditions. Understanding pathogenesis is also critical. For instance, ETEC bacteria cause diarrhea by releasing toxins that make intestinal cells secrete water. Shigella, causing dysentery, invades and damages the intestinal lining, leading to bloody stools. Salmonella typhi, the typhoid agent, enters the bloodstream and multiplies inside immune cells, causing a systemic infection. Cholera toxin, produced by Vibrio cholerae, causes massive fluid loss by activating specific cellular pathways in the intestine. Each bacterium has a unique way of making us sick. Let's explore diagnostics and public health. For diagnosis, stool cultures are standard for most waterborne bacteria, while blood culture is vital for detecting systemic infections like typhoid. Rapid diagnostic tests offer quick results during outbreaks, though they may be less sensitive. Public health interventions are multifacets. Water treatment, including chlorination and filtration, is paramount. Improved sanitation systems, like effective sewage management, interrupt disease transmission. Hygiene education, promoting hand washing and safe food handling, empowers communities. Surveillance systems help track outbreaks, enabling quick responses. And importantly, vaccination programs, such as those for typhoid and cholera, offer specific protection to vulnerable populations. These strategies work together to protect public health. Connecting these concepts, it's clear that bacterial waterborne diseases are not isolated incidents but complex public health challenges. The efficacy of water treatment technologies, from simple boiling to advanced filtration and disinfection, directly correlates with disease prevention. Sanitation engineering plays a crucial role in preventing fecal contamination of water sources. The development and deployment of vaccines are game changers, offering immunity against specific pathogens. Furthermore, understanding the specific mechanisms of pathogenesis, like how toxins work or how bacteria invade cells, informs the development of targeted treatments and better public health policies. These interconnected elements form a holistic approach to combating these widespread diseases. It's time for the hard-level practice questions. Pause the video and try to answer these 7 thought-provoking questions. 1. Discuss the role of toxins in the pathogenesis of cholera and diarrheal E. coli. 2. Why are typhoid fever cases diagnosed using blood culture rather than just stool culture? 3. Explain how improved sanitation systems contribute to the control of waterborne diseases. 4. Describe the specific mechanism by which Shigella causes dysentery. 5. What are the main differences in the systemic effects of typhoid fever compared to cholera? 6. Briefly explain the concept of fecal-oral route and provide an example of how it can be interrupted. And finally, 7. Discuss two public health strategies, besides vaccination, that are crucial in preventing widespread outbreaks of waterborne diseases. Good luck! Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll dive into the intricate details of microbial virulence, advanced diagnostics, cutting-edge water purification, and the global policy landscape. Prepare for a truly in-depth exploration. At this advanced level, we dissect microbial virulence. Bacteria poses virulence factors like adhesins for attachment, invasins for cell entry, and exotoxins such as cholera toxin or Shiga toxin, which directly harm host cells. They also have endotoxins, like LPS, and protective capsules to evade our immune system. Pathogens also employ sophisticated immune evasion tactics. For instance, Salmonella typhi can survive inside macrophages, evading direct antibody attack. Vibrio cholerae multiplies so rapidly it overwhelms local immunity, while Shigella can induce apoptosis in immune cells to further spread. The host's defense involves both innate immunity, like stomach acid and gut flora, and adaptive immunity, which provides specific, long-lasting protection through antibodies and T cells. This constant battle between pathogen and host determines the outcome of an infection. Understanding these interactions is key to developing effective treatments and vaccines. In advanced diagnostics, PCR has revolutionized pathogen detection, offering rapid, highly sensitive, and specific identification of bacterial DNA in water or clinical samples. This is a significant leap from traditional culture methods. While serological tests like the Vidal test for typhoid exist, they have limitations such as cross-reactivity and are often less definitive than culture or PCR. A critical challenge is antimicrobial resistance, or AMR. Strains of Salmonella typhi and Shigella are increasingly resistant to common antibiotics, making treatment complex and prolonging illness. This necessitates careful antibiotic stewardship and global surveillance. Looking ahead, phage therapy, which uses bacteriophages to specifically target and destroy pathogenic bacteria, offers a promising alternative to antibiotics, especially for drug-resistant infections. These innovations are crucial in our ongoing fight against waterborne diseases. Water purification involves a multi-barrier approach. It begins with source protection, followed by coagulation and flocculation to clump particles. Sedimentation settles these clumps, and then filtration, including advanced membrane technologies like ultrafiltration and reverse osmosis, removes even smaller particles and pathogens. Finally, disinfection using chlorine, ozone, or UV light inactivates remaining microorganisms. Beyond large-scale systems, point-of-use treatments like boiling, solar disinfection, or household filters are vital in areas lacking centralized infrastructure. Wastewater treatment is equally crucial. It involves primary physical removal, secondary biological degradation of organic matter, and tertiary treatment for nutrient removal and disinfection, preventing environmental contamination. Sanitation engineering focuses on designing improved latrines and sewage systems to effectively interrupt the fecal-oral transmission route, a cornerstone of public health infrastructure. These engineering solutions are fundamental to preventing waterborne diseases on a massive scale. The global impact of waterborne diseases is immense. They are a significant barrier to achieving Sustainable Development Goal 6, which aims for universal access to safe water and sanitation. These diseases impose a heavy economic burden through healthcare costs, lost productivity, and impacts on tourism. A growing concern is the link to climate change. Increased floods and droughts compromise water sources and sanitation systems, leading to more frequent and severe outbreaks. Effective policy interventions are therefore paramount. This includes international collaboration through organizations like WHO and UNICEF, robust national water and sanitation policies, and sustained investment in resilient infrastructure. Emergency preparedness for outbreaks is also critical. Addressing these diseases requires a coordinated effort across science, engineering, economics, and policy to protect global health. It's a complex, interconnected challenge that demands our attention and innovation. Now for the first set of hardest level questions. Pause the video and challenge yourself with these. 1. Compare and contrast the virulence factors and mechanisms of host cell invasion for Shigella and Salmonella typhi. 2. Discuss the advantages of molecular diagnostic techniques over traditional culture methods in detecting waterborne pathogens. 3. Explain how the multi-barrier approach in water treatment works, detailing at least 3 distinct stages. 4. What are the implications of antimicrobial resistance on the management of bacterial waterborne diseases, and what strategies can mitigate this challenge? And 5. Critically evaluate the Vidal test for typhoid fever, highlighting its limitations. Good luck! Let's tackle the final set of hardest level questions. Pause the video and think deeply. 6. How does climate change indirectly contribute to an increase in waterborne disease outbreaks? 7. Describe the specific mechanism by which cholera toxin leads to massive fluid loss in cholera patients. 8. Discuss the role of both innate and adaptive immunity in defending against waterborne bacterial infections, using examples from the discussed diseases. 9. Beyond centralized water treatment plants, what are point-of-use water treatment methods, and why are they important in certain contexts? And 10. Propose a comprehensive public health intervention program for a community facing recurrent outbreaks of bacterial waterborne diseases, integrating at least 4 different strategies. Give it your best shot. We've covered a lot today on bacterial waterborne diseases, from the basics of hygiene to complex microbial mechanisms and global health strategies. Remember, understanding these topics is key to promoting a healthy life and a healthy community. For more such in-depth educational content and to master your subjects, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more engaging lessons. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep learning. See you next time.